So, ano ba yung chapter 2? So, we talk about the quality assurance in analytical chemistry, yung tinatawag nating mga ISO. How important it is to be accredited by the International Organization for Standardization. Okay? So ito yung governing body na look at the different standards. And the need for this ISO is to certify a management system, manufacturing process, a service, or documentation procedure that has all the requirements for standardization and quality assurance. So imagine kung walang quality assurance around us. What could have happened? What's the problem with our lambanog? So parang informal ano lang tayo ngayon. So, ano kaya mangyayari kung walang quality assurance sa lambanog?
Wala pong consistency.
Walang consistency at pwede kang magkaroon ng tawag na what we call cases. Okay? Na poisoning na nangyari dyan. Yung tinatawag natin mga backyard business ng lambanog. So tingin nyo paano makakarating ito? Oh shit, hindi kita. Kita nyo ba hawak ko?
Opo,
Yes,
sir.
po, sir.
Diba?
Pancit Canton.
Favorite baon nyo yan? Tanggalin ko na yung background ko. Hindi nyo makita eh. Nasaan na yun? No background. So, kita nyo to?
Yes po, sir. Pancit Canton.
Ano ba sinasabi nyo? Kasi nung time ko, ito lang yung meron eh. Tapos lumabas yung kalamansi. Yun lang. Tapos, nung dumating na ako sa US, meron ganito. So imagine if you have this and compare it, let's say, sa quality na ito. I don't know if you see what I'm holding on. So this is what? This is a local industry. So hindi siya export quality. So paano sa tingin niyo dumating to dito? Dala namin pa uwi. Okay? So this is a locally peanut butter that is being produced in Marinduque, my wife's province. Okay? So without yung tinatawag nating quality assurance, hindi tayo makakakuha ng ganito dito. Tataka kayo, puro Filipino food, right? Kaya dito ako pumasto eh. Hindi kaya magkakaroon ng ganito. Okay? So before they release that, they have to pass through quality assurance or else dito sa US, medyo tawag dito, they are strict. Kapag nasuka, pwede mabankrupt yung company mo overnight. Diyan sa sa atin medyo maluwag eh. Hindi na yung tinatawag natin na consumer power. Okay? Naghahanap pa ako dito na galing diyan sa Pinas. So see the difference. So alin yung bibilhin mo kapag may option ka ng ganito? By the look of it, alin yung bibilhin mo? Between the two. Siyempre, bibilhin mo yung tinatawag natin may pangalan. Ano yung may pangalan sa dalawang ito? If you go, put this in international market. Okay?
Nutella.
So, yung Nutella. Meron tayong ganyan doon, no? So, meron sa Pinas nito? Yes? Because I remember the first time I ate this one, I was in Austria, 2005. Binigyan ako ng tawag dito, European bread, napakatigas. Napansin ata nung kalabmate ko, he's a South African, na hindi ako komportable. Goya pa rin. So binigyan niya ako ng American bread. The American bread is the one that we know as tasty in our country. And then that's the first time I have tasted Nutella in my life because during that time, wala pa sa Pinas. Okay? So before our product can go out here like this one or this one, okay, they have to pass through quality assurance. Kasi kapag something happens, okay, dun sa product, cause injury or worse, death, okay, maaring kasuhan sila. And the efficiency of this quality assurance can be what we call helpful if they know that a certain batch of the product is contaminated or what we say is have bacteria that can cause injury. It's easy for them to recall. So I'm not sure kung kung observant kayo. Usually, if you're going to look at some of the product, kita nyo yan? Hindi ko alam kung kita nyo, but there's some set of numbers that they have there. So that contains information. So if they see certain samples that may say contain a lot of calcium oxalate as reported before, it's easier for them to recall which product it is. And unfortunately, hindi nangyayari yan dyan sa atin, di ba? Here, we always heard news that some of the vegetables, some of the meats, okay, by certain company or certain farm, mag-a-announce yan. So, sasabihin nila, itapon na yun. At ito yung maganda. Pwede kang i-refund kung maibaano mo yung tinatawag nating receipt. So that's the importance of the quality control and the quality analysis or assurance that they have there. Okay. Now, bursary incident is what we call more on worldwide incident dahil doon sa Chernobyl. Okay. So, yun yung cover nitong chapter na ito. And I was surprised, that there are accreditation offices that are in charge in doing this in that country, yung Philippine Accreditation Bureau. Okay, so siya yung national accreditation body of the Philippines. So they are in charge of the inspection, testing and certifying bodies. And they are under what? Anong department? So they are under the DTI department. So when we're talking about products, we look at the quality control. When we're talking about the processes, okay, we look at the quality assurance. And if we're going to look at the company, we look about the total quality management. So yan yung parang hierarchy. Now, some of you may end up working as QA and QC. Now, what's the common complaint if you end up here? Ano sa tingin niyo magiging problema nyo? Kapag nasa industry kayo, you end up as a QA or QC. Anyone? May mga brad or sis ba kayo na sa mga org nyo? Maliit sweldo? Yung iba, ang ginagawa nila, nag-shift sila lagi. Tapos minsan mag-aano sila doon sa holiday na weekend para triple pay. I have some of my batchmates who were doing that. Tapos nung pumasok daw yung smartphone, naapektuhan yung production nila kasi most of the time nandun sila sa smartphone nila. Okay? And some of them, after some years, because of what? Because of the repetitive nature of work, walang ka-challenge, they resign and went to other field. So usually I have a batchmate before who was my housemate. He worked on the BMEG. Nag-exist pa ba yung company na yun? Are you familiar with BMEG? Under siya ng company. Di ba mga yun? Animal feeds under San Miguel. So, ang ginagawa niya kapag holiday tapos weekend, he's really working on it. Okay? Kasi nga sabi niya triple pay. And I remember some of our contemporaries who ended up in coke. Pag nakikita kami, laging may kotse because they take advantage of the thing. And he said that one experience that they have, that since the work is so routinary, other chemists are just not doing their job properly. Kumbaga alam na nila yung anong lalabas, so nakamarka na yung tinatawag natin na data nila, which is not good. Okay? That's why what they usually do whenever they release the products, they always collect what they said, hopefully, representative sample. And in their post-analysis, they see something wrong with the samples that they have, they will immediately recall the product. And the one that they use is the so-called batch number. Okay? So yan yung parang we could say, one practical aspect that you apply this thing. And I will not be surprised if some of you will, what we could end up working on the industry. My only, we could say, request is do the job as much as possible. Wag yung sa tagal nyo nang ginagawa. Oh, alam ko na yung I remember one of my batchmate who went back to our province in Zamboanga City, and he ended up in coke. And he says some of his co-workers doing that. He resigned and he just went back to teach in a local university. Yeah, because he said, I can't do that. Okay? So, yan yung tinatawag natin QA tsaka QC. So, I want you to look at it is in this thing. There's no such thing as calculation in what we call chapter 2. And it is what it is. Okay? The only challenging that you have there, if I'm not mistaken, ay yung chart. I'm trying to look at this. Siguro doon lang ako mag-concentrate. I hope I can look at it. Okay. So whenever they do the so-called performance approach, okay, one thing that they do there is any form of the quality assessment can be used provided that we can demonstrate an acceptable level of statistical control. So kasama dito sa performance approach, okay, ay yung tinatawag na itong different tools. So yung duplicate samples, yung blank, yung standards, and spike recoveries. Okay, because they are the one that will tell you on the precision and bias of your analysis. So what a lab can control is the frequency with which it's analyzed quality assessment. So titingnan mo yung quality, okay, ng data na lumalabas. Okay, and the condition is used to signal when an analysis is no longer in a state of statistical control. So when you have this performance approach based, the one that they usually use is this so-called Levy-Jennings chart. Okay, so it tells you the quality of the control plotted to a visual indication whether a lab test is working well. So the way that you look at is you look at the standard deviation. So this is this line that we have there, that's the mean. Okay, and then this two, that's the +1 statistical deviation. Okay, and then this one, statistical deviation, standard deviation. Okay, and this is the 2 standard deviation. So you always have this so-called control chart. And what it do, it plot the results of the process or an analytical procedure with your quality control sample. Okay, so what you need to do is make sure you monitor the data that you have. Okay, and in some instances, there are rules that you need to follow to see if the data that you have can be retained or rejected. Okay, so meron tayong tinatawag na rules based on the control data that we have. So, alin yung pwede nating suspect dito? Ito, masyadong mababa. Okay, ito, medyo mataas. Okay, and then we have this one, the yellow one. So you can ask yourself, are these data okay? Okay, so we have to follow certain rules on this. Or for instance, this one. So what can you say about this? Or maybe this one. Okay, so are they acceptable or not? So how do we have to do these things? So meron tayong pinatawag na Westgard rules. So these are multiple quality control rules to help us analyze whether we have an analytical run that is in control or out of control. So if it's out of control, that means you cannot accept the data. And it has what we call a combination of a decision criteria. So usually 5 different control rules to judge the acceptability of an analytical run. Okay, now the Westgard rules that we have, we generally use with 2 or 4 control measurements per run, which means they are appropriate when 2 different controls are measured 1 or 2 times per material, which is the case in many chemistry applications. So this is the rule that you need to follow. Okay, so if you have a control data here, so the first thing that you can do is what we call 1,2S. So what does 1,2S means? So let's say we have this here. So saan dito yung 1,2S? Day what?
Day, day 6. Pwede po.
Okay, so we could say day 6 is 1,2S. So that means there's one data there that is in the 2S. So if you're going to look at the rule, if you have a 1,2S, yes, you're going to look at the next one. If you don't have 1,2S, so that means you're fine. So that means the first what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days, they're good. Okay, why? Because they don't have a 1,2S. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do it is when you have 1,2S, so maybe since sinabi natin dito yes, so maybe the decision that we have there, it's not retain, it's not reject, but what would be the appropriate thing that we're going to do?
Warning po.
Warning. Okay, so whenever you have this thing, it's warning. It's a warning to yourself. So you need to look at what's the next data. Now, if the next data, okay, is a 1,3S, that means you're going to have to reject it. So, paano magiging reject to? If ever. Dapat ito ay nandoon. Gets nyo?
Yes,
Kapag,
sir.
kapag yung kasunod na data ng 1 to S nasa 3S or maybe dito sa baba, so ibig sabihin, i-reject nyo yung data na yon. But since it is less than 2S, you could say you don't need to reject it. Okay? That means you have to retain it. May warning lang kayo nakita doon. Now, the next thing that you have to follow there, okay, wala siyang 3S. So the next thing that you have is another 2S. So anong ibig sabihin nito? Kapag yung kasunod ay nandito din, or let's say this one, right? I think this is an example of 2 to S. Do you follow here? So anong gagawin mo sa day 13? If you are asked, what do you do on day 13? Anyone? So day 13, you will what? Give a warning. And day 14, what is your decision? Pag ikaw yung inas na in-interpret yung data.
Rejected po.
Okay?
Reject po.
Reject. Okay? So, this is a case of 2 to S. Okay? Now, what's the next case that you're going to reject the data? So, yung tinatawag na R4S. Anong ibig sabihin ng R4S? Anyone?
Ano po, kapag for example po, yung unang data po is nandun po sa plus 2S tapos yung isa po yung nasa minus 2S or yung isa po yung nasa minus 2S or yung isa po yung nasa plus 2S pag po magkasunod sila or 4S.
Okay? So if you're going to look at it, I think I need to bring you doon sa ano ba yung ibig sabihin na 1 to S na yan. Although if you're going to look at it, nandoon yan doon sa tinatawag natin ang tawag dito, module. Okay? So, if you have this what we call R4S, this is two measurements in the same run that have a standard deviation difference, such as one exceeding 2 standard deviation above the mean and another exceeding 2 standard deviation below the mean. Okay? So yun yung tinatawag nating R4S. I'm trying to find a data kasi wala doon sa ano natin kung ano itsura no R4S. So if you're going to look at the R4S violation, punta lang kayo doon sa yung link ng ano natin ng module natin nandoon. So you can look at this. So this is what we're talking about right now. Okay? So ito yung 13S. Tapos ito yung 12S. So if you're going to look at the 12S violation here, it is above. Okay, that's 2 standard deviation. And then 2S, so that's 2 successive thing. So ito yung R4S. So if you're going to look at it from this, that negative 2 tapos nag-ano doon, so at least there's 4 standard deviation yung pag inano mo yung from negative 2 to positive 2 standard deviation. Okay, so that's what it means by what we call the R4S. Okay, so that's another what we call violation. And then you have the 41S. So what is this 41S? Ito yung 4 na beses ka na over or under 1 standard deviation. Okay, so if you have a 4-1S, you reject it. Okay, this happens when 4 consecutive control measurement exceed the same mean plus 1S or the same mean minus 1S control limit. Okay, and the last that we have here is the so-called 10x. Paano kaya yung 10x? So when you have 10x, okay, so you have here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 consecutive. That is, we could say, if you add them, I mean, all of them are just above or below the mean, 10 straight. Okay. Now, in our PowerPoint slide, I don't think we have the last. Meron ba tayong ano dito? Kung ipapa-identify sa atin kung anong violation? So ito, anong violation to? Anyone? Kasi ganun yung papagawa sa inyo. You're going to be given a control chart and you are asked what is happening each day. So we could say 1, 2, 3, 4. All of them are what? Retained. Now, how about this? Anong violation to?
1-3S po.
Okay, so that's a 1,3S. Yeah, ito,
Warning po.
warning. Anong violation yan?
1-2S po.
1-2S.
So 1,2S. So you get already what I mean? And then this one, the same as that, right? Meron ba kayong ano dito? 4R? Makikita nyo ba yung last 3 violation natin dito? Yung R4S?
11 po yun.
I think we have an R4S, right? Oh, hindi. Kasi hindi siya consecutive. If this goes straight there, I think that is an example of R4S. Or di kaya ito, tumaas doon sa taas, that is an R4S. Okay? So, mahirap makita yung R4S. Now, do we have, ano yung next na ano? 4,1S? May 4,1S ba tayo?
Wala po.
Okay. I don't think we have. Okay. And we don't have the 10 because we don't have 10 consecutive run on one side. So 1, 2, 3, 1, no, 1, yeah. Dito sa isa. Is this one? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But at least nakaano dito. So ganun yung magiging ano ninyo. I think I'm not sure if I can make it as an assignment. So maybe by Tuesday. So that's the thing that I will say about chapter 2. Now the one that I want to discuss is the chapter quiz that we have. I was surprised you were not able to get some simple question. Yung isa hindi niyo na kailangan mag-calculate, but you are not able to get the correct answer. Do you know what I mean?
Sir, ito po ba yun sa parang may yung may x-intercept?
Yeah.
Something?
I thought I'm giving you a bonus there, but I was surprised Most of you didn't get it. I'm trying to open the quiz. Mahirap ba yung quiz? Mahirap siya?
Okay lang naman po, sir. Tapos na-clarify lang po yung sa mga parts na parang medyo naguluhan lang po ako. Na-clarify naman na po.
Yeah, yung tatanggalin lang yung negative sign. Yep. Originally, I put it as a 4 points. And then I said, why will I give you 4 points when you won't even do any calculations on that? Kaya ginawa kong 5 points yung isa. Okay? So, ano ba to? Courses. 137B. Ang overage loan, if I'm going to look at the highest is 47. Someone get a 47 out of 50. Tinitingnan ko sa speed grader. So the average is 37.67 out of 50. Is that good or bad? 75%. So I'm looking at the quizzes. So as you can see here, ready na yung chapter 2 nyo. And you have an AB already. 15 questions, 35 points. Critical thinking. Kaya nga dapat malaman nyo eh. And you don't have the same what we call question. Some of them are what we call a bank. But ito yung na-observe ko. Lahat ng multiple choice kuha nyo. So here, I think most of you were able to get this one, right?
Ako po, sir, hindi. Kasi nasanay po kasi ako, sir, sa way ng calculation ko na nasa taas po yung isa, tapos nasa baba yung isa. Bale, tapos ngayon ko lang na-realize na, oo nga, no, response factor, kapag i-multiply mo siya dapat sa concentration, dapat nalabas yung ano. So, dapat iba yung pagkaayos. So, doon po ako namali kasi reciprocal po yung naano ko, compute.
Hindi ko na nga ginawa yung main problem. Kasi sabi ko, baka maano na sila sa time. So what I did is just to give you the first step, right? First step lang tinitingnan dito. That should be assured 4 points. And this one, I was just surprised. Para feeling ko, BO ko as an instructor. Because remember, if I'm not mistaken, you were given like a plot like this. Tapos sabi natin, so kung ano yung value dito ng X, yan yung content ng sample nyo. And I was surprised only a few of you were able to get it correctly. Yung isa, ano yung sagot ko? I think my answer is 2.4. Nilagay nyo 2.5. I don't know anong basis doon. And I don't know why you did the calculation in the first place. If you're going to look at what we call the question given there. Okay. Now, itong isa naman, I made a mistake kasi originally it should be in micromolar. So, yun yung nakalagay doon sa tinatawag nating grade. But what I did is I graded them manually. Kasi yung original na nakalagay dito, micromolar. So, kapag nilagay nyo yung millimolar, okay? So, yun yung ano ko. So, what I do, I didn't apply the all or nothing. I think to some of you, I credited some points, okay, doon sa value na nakuha nyo. I think what's the answer that we have here? It's 1.44, okay? Yung iba, 1.43. So, that's how I put this calculation. So I rather put a blank than what we call a multiple choice. Because if I'm not mistaken, your your fourth exam is multiple choice, right? Tama ba? If you're going to take the board exam in the near future, okay? So ito yung pwedeng lumabas doon sa exam nyo. So, comment sa exam. Okay ba? Sabihin nyo, masyadong maiksi. Sabi sa akin ng isang lecturer, okay lang yun, sir. Kapag masyadong mahaba, may time po silang maghanap ng sagot sa internet. So, question. Kasi, yun lang. I'm going to give you a break this weekend. Tapos, next week, we start with 3. Okay? So, kung kaya natin matapos by the first week of December, tapos mag-aantay na lang tayo ng tawag nating final exam. Yes, Alessandra.
Sir, nagtataka lang po ako, bakit po kaya ang lumalabas sa calcu ko dun sa 16 ay 1.45?
Yeah, hindi ko alam.
Kasi po nagtanong ako dun sa iba, 1.44, pero ayun po talaga lumalabas sa calcu ko.
Ay, hindi ko alam. Kasi ako magtataka din kung lahat kayo 145 tapos ako 144. Eh since yung iba lumabas na 144, sabi ko, siya may mali. Bili daw bagong calcu, sabi ni Berhel. Nag-round off ka ba? Kasi ang technique...
Ayun po sir, 1.451 something po yung lumalabas.
Ang ano kasi technique yan, isang input lang lahat as much as possible.
Opo sir,
Oh?
isang input ko lang po.
Saan na ba yun? Nawawala. Ayun, yun yung lumalabas, yung 1.436 sa calculation ko. Kaya naging 1.44. Yes, Iksi.
Oh my God. Sir, kailan po ang ang tawag dito, chapter quiz for chapter 2?
Kayo, gusto niyo next week?
Okay lang din po, sir, kung next week para hindi na lang din po siya sumabay sa iba.
Kasi wala pa ba kayong mga quiz sa ibang courses niyo?
Ako po, meron mga quiz po, meron. Tas para matapos na lang din yung kalbaryo.
Sabi ko nga dito, why prolong the agony? Yeah, kung meron kayong tanong about module 2, we can meet on Tuesday. If not, I'm going to proceed with chapter module 3. Pero ang ano ko, manood na kayo ng module 3. Ang mangyayari kasi, hindi ako nagbibigay ng problem set. So maybe every meeting, may isang problem na ibibigay. Kasi pamatay yung pag-grade ng problem set ng problem solving. So I rather do it one problem at a time. Kasi ang hirap mag-grade kapag online, tapos multiple number pa, and you have 30. Okay? So, baka mamaya, maano na lang akong bigyan kayo ng 100 pag ganun. Pag na-overwhelm ako. So, I rather do it one by one. I mean, one problem. So, we might meet as short as 30 minutes, but after that, yun na yun. Kasi lahat nga ng material, na ano na, tawag dito, naka-record na. And I don't know, I think this will be my last 137 class kasi magpe-face-to-face na kayo next semester. So, I don't know what's the IC plan to me. Okay? Kasi ang original post ata yesterday may have face-to-face tapos they posted later 100% face-to-face. Okay? Kasi 'di ba nag-ano sa Senado yung nagreklamo yung isa sa magkapatid na kung hindi ipe-face-to-face tatanggalan ng budget yung UP. Kaya siguro natakot yung UP. So naglabas ng memo. Okay? Oo, yung walang kwenta rin pala yun, pagaya ng kapatid. Si 10,000, di ba? Siguro naiyak yung tatay nilang matino. So, yun nga, yung lumabas doon. So, hirit ko nga doon sa analytical chemistry group, wala na akong pasok. So, at least makakaturo na ako sa TIP kung saan may bayad ako. Kaysa dyan, wala akong bayad. Kasi ang ano nga ngayon, I think they're trying to see, yung iba sa inyo, di ba, sa LB? So, I'm just going to make this off the record.